Relationship Friday. KD Bo is my name. This is Robin May, licensed therapist and life coach. What's up, Robin?
Hey, Katie.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
And so we got a very interesting email. Let's share it.
Yeah, so someone emailed me recently and said, Robin, my spouse is clearly depressed and it's impacting the entire family. And Katie, this is something I deal with a lot in my counseling practice. People who are dealing with a spouse that is dealing with depression. And Katie, I take this very seriously as a licensed professional. And first of all, I want to speak to the person, Katie, who might be feeling depressed. So we all go through times when we have moments of depression or we have moments of anxiety. But you know that it's become a clinical issue when it starts to interfere with your everyday life. You can't get out of the bed, you're isolating, you're crying, maybe irritable a lot. You owe it to yourself and the people who love you to seek help. Katie, in our community, we frown upon counseling and seeking help. Even in the Christian arena, we're told, you better pray about it.
Wow.
But we need to get the help. And so I want to speak to that person. But for a spouse whose spouse is clearly depressed, there's some key things I really want you to consider. Number one, you want to master being empathetic, but not getting consumed. You got to be empathetic to what they're feeling, but not getting consumed with what they're feeling.
Okay.
Because, Katie, depression is like quicksand.
How you know when they're just not tripping, okay? Like, for instance, he ain't depressed, he's just tripping. Or he's pouting, he just want his way.
Well, see, I just gave some of the signs of depression: isolation, staying in bed, irritable, doing things that are distinctly different from what they consistently and distinctively different from what they normally do.
Okay.
That's when you know that there's something going on, especially when they stop doing things they normally enjoy. So if your spouse is always tripping with you, but they're still doing the things they normally enjoy, that may not be depression. That might be something else, okay?
Right.
So, and we want to make sure that we don't minimize it, because that's what happens in our community. It's minimized, and so people just suck it up and they deal with it by themselves. But this is important. Depression, like I said, is like quicksand. If your spouse is I want you to visualize this. If your spouse is standing in quicksand, your goal is not to get in the quicksand with them, because you're both going to sink. You want to stay outside of that. Don't get consumed by it. So number one, you want to identify, Katie, has your spouse dealt with some major triggers lately? Have they lost a job, gotten diagnosed with a health concern, maybe lost a family member? That's a huge trigger. So one of the things you want to do is keep yourself lifted.
That's good.
Just because, listen to this, just because your spouse is not wanting to do the things that they normally enjoy, you don't stop doing it. Don't get consumed with guilt or feel bad because you're still keeping yourself lifted. You're doing it for the both of you.
Okay.
Number two, this is important. You want to keep your guardrails up. When your spouse is depressed, this might be a time when they stop taking care of themselves. They may not be interested in sex anymore. They may not, they might be isolating. And this is a time when you could get caught up in something because you're frustrated at home. So keep your guardrails up. And then lastly, I would encourage you, if your spouse is dealing with depression and they refuse to get help, please, you go get some help, because a therapist can help you deal with what you're feeling and give you some strategies to help your spouse. So again, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. We don't want to minimize this. This is not just depression. It can be anxiety or many other mental health diagnoses. And we just want everybody to get the support.
All right, it's good stuff. All right, you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us on our social media pages. I'm KD Bo everywhere.
Robin May online everywhere.